We just had 4 years of ROTC where we saluted basically everybody we saw except for enlisted, and now we're being saluted all over base. It's a little strange. The interest in the Navy definitely came later in high school. I always admired my parents' stories of everywhere they've been around the world, so they were a huge influence in me wanting to join the Navy. In ROTC, I knew that I wanted to be a pilot. All 4 years is what I was aiming for. I am the first pilot in our family. Everybody's really excited about what I'm doing. Right now I'm in Aviation Pre-Flight Indoctrination, which is 6 weeks of academics and survival training. Yesterday I had engines class. Basically we learn about all the different types of engines that we could be flying someday. Having an engineering degree, a lot of the information was familiar, but it's not so much how an engine works, but what you do wrong that makes an engine not work is what will stick with us the most. After that we had navigation class.
Understanding where you're at and where you want to go. That's navigation. I am Major Chad Swan, call sign Swanee, because that's the only one that's stuck after 18 years.
Everybody in the aviation community has their call sign. It's a huge part of the culture. It's usually after you get your wings and you get to a squadron, then everybody just tries to make fun of you in some way and come up with a creative call sign. I think the aviation community is definitely unique within the Navy. Everybody works really hard, and we take flying and safety very seriously, but we also have a good time. To finish Aviation Pre-Flight Indoctrination, we have to pass 6 tests and we have to get through the survival training. For the survival training, we learn how to swim through the water if the surface is on fire, if there's debris on fire. It teaches us how to conserve our energy, how to float, waiting for rescue to come. Today's challenge is a mile swim in flight suit. So we put flight suits on, and it's to simulate if you were to crash in the ocean or in any body of water and you had to swim to safety. That's one thing that we get tested on. I love swimming. I was on the swim team in high school, so I'm not nervous. I'm actually really excited for it. I remember we were about halfway through and I was thinking, if I didn't have this flight suit on right now, I would have been done already. So it really slows you down. I'm focused on the engines test tomorrow and then the navigation test next week. But once in a while, especially when we're watching all these videos in class of flying and everything, it makes me really anxious to just be done with all this training and finally get into a squadron and finally be out there in the fleet. We're at Naval Air Station Corpus Christi, Texas, and we're standing on the flight line where all the T-34s are parked. Right now I'm in the 3rd stage of naval flight training called primary. The first thing that you do when you get here is another series of ground school where you learn basically all the systems in the T-34. You have this overload of information and understanding everything and how to actually fly the plane and all the different maneuvers. At first it's like everything's hard, and then you get used to it and you practice. On a day that you are scheduled to fly, you have a scheduled brief time where just you and the instructor that you're going to be flying with have certain discussion items, which are all laid out on this curriculum that we have. And then you go fly, and then afterwards you come back and what's called a debrief, and he tells you what you did well, what you did wrong. It does feel like you're still in school, but it also feels like it is your job. We are getting paid, we are active duty, but we're also in training and we're students still. I mean, we're not in a classroom, we're out in the sky flying, so it's 100% better. So yesterday was my 3rd solo, my 3rd time ever flying the T-34 by myself. It's a little nerve-wracking, but it's also really exciting, and I think I flew better by myself than I did with instructors because you're more relaxed. You don't have someone in the backseat constantly judging and grading you. Once everything starts to click and you finally start flying well, it becomes a lot more fun, and it's really exciting to fly. Primary on average takes about 6 months, and after we're done flying the T-34, we actually find out what we'll be flying for the Navy. You can put in a preference, but it's based on what the Navy needs at that time that you finish primary. I go back and forth every day what I want to fly. Most of the time I want jets because I figured when else can I have the opportunity to fly a jet in my lifetime. But part of me also really likes search and rescue, which makes me want to fly helicopters. So I'm not really sure exactly which one I want, but I think I'd honestly be happy flying anything for the Navy.